Duke of Kent finally breaks silence on Harry's memoir made Sussex immediately finds place to hide. Prince Harry has been pipped to the post in publishing his celebrity memoir by the Queen's cousin, the Duke of Kent. Prince Harry is expected to publish his memoirs this autumn and is expected to put his late mother, Diana, Princess of Wales, front and centre. But ahead of their long-anticipated release date, Prince Edward, the Duke of Kent, inched ahead of his relative by publishing his thoughts on the inner workings of the royal family. In a review of the Insights, Jane Ridley calls the Duke's life blameless, and one which reveals no scandals in the firm, but a set of memories that are an implicit reproach to Prince Harry. Ms. Ridley writes, "The Duke's example of a royal life dedicated to self-effacing service stands in stark contrast to Harry's career as a celebrity prince. The memoir, looking at the Queen's reign, is the first of its kind to be published on the monarch's achievements by a family member. It is not known to what extent the monarch will feature in Prince Harry's memoirs, but the Duke of Sussex, 37, committed to producing a first-hand account of my life that's accurate and wholly truthful." Princess Diana's biographer, Tina Brown, predicted the Queen would be exempt from criticism from her grandson, but many other royals are unlikely to escape. She wrote in the palace papers, "Harry's not going to go after the Queen, she's sacrosanct. And he probably won't go after Kate, whom he's very fond of. But he will go after Charles and Camilla and maybe William." Omid Scobie, the Sussexes biographer, has previously said Prince Harry will only laud the Queen in his memoirs. He added that the Duke really wants to celebrate her life and his relationship with her in that book. He said, "Harry really is going out of his way to make sure that there isn't material in there, the book, that can be seen as negative towards the Queen or her reign in any way whatsoever. He really wants to celebrate her life and his relationship with her in that book. I think as much as the press want this to be a burn book and an attack on the institution, this is more just about his story. Of course, his story is so much more than just the few years of his life as the Duke of Sussex. I think for people expecting that warts and all moment, it's not going to happen. That said, it's still going to be fascinating." The Duke of Kent has labelled his role in the Queen's coronation in 1953 daunting, and admitted his chief anxiety was that I'd forget my lines in his upcoming memoir. In his new book A Royal Life, Her Majesty's Cousin, 86, details the events following his uncle King George VI's death at Sandringham at the age of 56, including the Queen's coronation, reported. He recalls in his memoir, set for release later this month, how he was nervous about his lines after being told he would have a prominent role in the ceremony. Then aged 17, the Duke was informed he would be seated in front of the peers alongside his cousin Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, and his uncle, Prince Henry, Duke of Gloucester, as one of the three royal dukes who would pay homage to the Queen after the Archbishop of Canterbury. "My chief anxiety was that I would forget my lines. I had been given the impression that I had to remember them, so I had learned them by heart," he recalls. However, when his moment came, the Bishop of Durham held up a card with the words the Duke would need to read on it. "It was quite daunting," admits the Duke, as he recalls remembering that the moment would be watched on TV by people all around the world. He adds, "The whole service was pretty long and it was certainly very impressive. It got to the point where people were eating sandwiches out of their coronets." In 1952, King George VI had gone to London Airport to wave off Princess Elizabeth and the Duke of Edinburgh as they embarked on a tour of the Commonwealth. Yet they only got as far as Kenya when the news of his death brought them quickly home.